Hey guys, we're still at the Interfaith Forum, and obviously, I'm always getting you people to give you information and put us on. I've got Dr. Yuvan M now. We're gonna break it down a little bit. Um, okay, Dr. Yuvan,
Yes.
thank you so much for agreeing to be hijacked by me. So, tell me a little bit about the work you do at UNISA.
Okay, so I'm a postdoc researcher in the Department of Practical Theology. My research is more on decolonial or decolonizing religion studies and theology, and looking at alternative ways for studying religion in Southern Africa, particular or with particular reference to African traditional religions.
When you say decolonizing, can you unpack and speak louder, please?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so when I say decolonizing, I think it's just the way in which we approach religion, the way in which we study it as well. A lot of methodologies for approaching and studying religion were initially from a Christian perspective. So it's a Christian inquiry into other religions and how these faiths affect the Christian faith, or how the Christian faith can go about in terms of missionaries, evangelism, and converting these people. So there isn't really that respect to the traditional or indigenous way of practicing spirituality or faith and belief. But one of the other major key issues that we find in terms of religion studies in South Africa is that there's a lot of funding and resources that goes toward exploring the major religions, so like Christianity, Islam, even Hinduism. Although Christianity is on a different level in terms of Islam and Hinduism in South Africa, so you could still count Hinduism and Islam as, or they are certainly neglected religions in academic study, but they are given more attention than what African traditional religions would receive in Southern
Unbelievable.
Africa. Yeah. So you have oppression, and then you have oppression on top of oppression. So there's like layers to it, and then at the very bottom of the layer you have African traditional religions, which is not right for a democratic
Right.
South Africa, and for
Especially
the
for Africa, right?
for Africa as well. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate in many different ways when you look at the study of religion, theology, and what we're really trying to achieve when we study religion and spirituality. But also, it's just discriminatory, if that's the right word, and it also,
And it discriminates against the masses.
yes.
That's the irony, right?
Yeah, I mean, religion is a very fascinating topic, and it holds a lot of secrets to who we are as individuals, where we come from, our history as a people, and there's so much of untouched knowledge in terms of African traditional religions that are not being documented, or there isn't proper research going on in those fields. But even if there is research, there's question on how it was approached or how it was engaged, because that knowledge isn't coming from the community itself. It's more coming from academics who go with their own bias and say, I've been to this community, this is what the religion is there.
So, I mean, I find it fascinating the stuff about the traditional healing in South Africa. So, how, on from an academic and institution point of view, how is it approached, and what's the question around?
Mm. Well, UNISA, they pride themselves with being a decolonial institution and prioritizing Africanization. So there has been major strides, I can say, from what I've observed so far. I've only been with UNISA for a year now, but it's been one of the most enjoyable times because of how pro-decolonial they are in terms of research and well, particularly within religion as well, because I do a lot of research on the Hindu community, and within UNISA, I've been afforded the space to actually go to whatever length in terms of studying that. But I think maybe not on an institutional level, speaking more on an academic, individual kind of level. My suggestion, I think, when it comes to studying African traditional religions or traditional religious leaders. Is that what you said?
Yeah, healers and
Traditional
leaders.
healers,
Uh
yeah.
huh.
Working with traditional healers, I would say the first thing that we would have to navigate is moving away from the conventional academic standard of inquiry and compiling research, because some of these things don't necessarily apply in religious communities because of phenomena and phenomenology and how deeply rooted religion is within the experience of every individual. So it has to actually, I would say, come up in alternative ways of generating knowledge as opposed to strictly academic papers.
So now I want to know about the interfaith conversation we just had right now. Because I was saying to you, is it possible to have everybody come together as one? Because it's kind of deliberate how we are Christian or Hindu or Muslim or Sangoma, you know? So then when we come together, what brings us together? Is it like, does it make sense even?
I would assume that what brings us together is the identification of a problem. And I think it was mentioned as well that we normally come together surrounding a crisis. That was something that we found in apartheid as well. Yeah, is there more to the question?
No, that's not. I
No,
just wanted.
okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you think it is possible? Because the thing is
Yeah,
that
no, it is possible. I mean, it's done. It's been done before, interfaith dialogue, and this isn't the first interfaith dialogue or interfaith forum that has happened. It's been happening.
it's a thing.
It's a thing, and you would usually find the same thing happening at interfaith dialogue. So, in my opinion, which my personal opinion, I would say, so away from all the organizations and institutions, my personal opinion is that until interfaith the dialogue shifts from just sharing information about the different religions, which is something that it's information we can easily access now with the internet and technology, until we move away from that to actually identifying a specific problem and saying how we as different religious institutions can come together and use the resources that we have to work on a collaborative project, we're not really going to see the full scope of what interfaith dialogue is actually capable of.
I ask because I mean I find the Christians so judgmental, and even how they look down on African healers and stuff. So that's why I'm asking Guti, is it realistic to?
No, it is realistic. I think even within, okay, yes, it's a challenging question.
Yes, they are.
No, I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that. I mean, Christianity is a big religion and there's many different angles to it and many different people in it. So we can't really label it as one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think interfaith dialogue is, it shouldn't be an invitation from Christians. The interfaith dialogue, it initially started and conversations around interfaith dialogue and religious plurality started out as a Christian reflection on other religions, and not so which in democratic South Africa we should shift away from, to actually say different religions coming together to address a specific problem.
Yes, and not centering Christianity.
Not centering Christianity, no. If anything, it should center African traditional. Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about the spiritual space in South Africa?
You would have to ask me something specific because there's a lot. But I think, there's a lot. What should I start with?
Like the things that burn you, when you're doing your thesis and you're just like this.
I think the spiritual space of South Africa, perhaps even of the world, is changing very rapidly and very quickly. And people are moving away from conventional religion and organized institutional religions to more free, personal, experience-based religion. So it isn't anymore about going to a specific place and performing certain things, in as much as it's being by myself and exploring who I am and where I fit into this world. And that's a very beautiful thing because I believe that's how religion and spirituality initially started out before it became these large million or lots of money based
industries.
Yeah. And it's not, for me, it's not about that. Religion is about exploring the human condition. It's about exploring who we are, why we're here, where we fit in, how we should interact with other people, how we make sense of the world around us. And if we can do that, then, well, everything that I just said is really fundamental Hindu principles. But yeah, if we can do that, then we move away from this judgmental point of looking at different religions as wrong or as evil or something, to rather just understanding that different people will understand the world differently because of language, culture, and so on and so forth.
Thank you, Dr. Yuvan.
No, it's a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much for your insights. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, sorry, man, I'm really tired.
No, I understand.